everybody, this is Matt. This is ClixRule Podcast episode number 3. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about Avengers Infinity. We finally got some product images from some of their from the set. We're going to be talking about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Unplugged set. We got some more product images from that set. And X-Men Xavier's School is coming out soon, and I'm just going to talk about 3 more dolls I really like in that set. So let's get started. Okay, so we finally got images for Avengers Infinity. That is a set coming out in May 2018, and what's really interesting about the set is it's gonna not be the standard old 5-figure boosters that are kind of like long and rectangular. These, as you can see in the picture, these are going to be kind of square, and that's because every single booster pack is going to include a 2x2 base figure and 4 standard size figures. Now you may have seen some of that kind of stuff. I think Wizard of the Coast might, I think their Pathfinder series is laid out very similarly, where every booster pack has a bigger figure in it, and then it comes with 4 other smaller figures. As you can, we finally got the pictures of the booster pack, and as you can see on the side of it, it says Vehicles and Colossals. So I think that's a good idea of what we're gonna see on the 2x2 bases. And you can see in the picture there is a Devil Dinosaur and Moon Girl figure, which is really interesting. We got a Devil Dinosaur figure in the Superior Foes of Spider-Man set, and I really like that figure, but this one looks definitely more Jurassic, and looks like more wild, and it has Moon Girl with them. And then also we see Spider Buggy on the side. That's that blue and red vehicle, and that's a really old vehicle. I think it was like only used, was used in a cartoon, an old cartoon or an old comic book, but it's never really been used since then. But people have remembered it for a while, so they're going to be making that. And the big question is, like, what other kinds of 2x2 bases are there going to be? And it's interesting to see down in the Fast Forces down below, it comes with what looks to be like part of a body, and that belongs to a Colossal Giant Girl figure. And what I'm wondering how they're gonna do it is, when was it Galactic Guardians or Guardians? I think it was Galactic Guardians had super boosters or something like that, and in one of the boosters there was a Galactus, but in order to make the Galactus, you had to like put the arms into the torso and the legs into the torso, and then attach them to the base and stuff. And that way they were able to fit a much bigger figure into a smaller booster pack. And I think that's what we're going to see with some of this stuff. And I think this Fast Forces is going to be like the first example of that, where the torso may be separate from the legs, maybe even the arms too, and then you can kind of put it together, kind of like the Hulkbuster armor suit from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I think that's the set it came in, where you could hook, you had a torso, had the arms, had the legs, and had the base, which was a 2x2. So I think we may see some stuff like that to represent the bigger pieces, but it's an interesting question to see, what other 2x2s are going to be. I think in general, if it's not like a put together piece like that, the 2x2s, the figures on the 2x2s are going to be relatively short. Like, vehicles will be great because they're more horizontal than vertical. A vehicle, is very horizontal, and it's not going to be very tall. And then the Devil Dinosaur, he's on his 2 hind feet. He's not going to be standing up straight. So I think he'll be able to fit too. So it'll be interesting to see what else they can fit in there. I think we will see some more vehicles. I would like to see a Punisher van that isn't like a resource. They could repurpose the Punisher van even and repaint it and make it another kind of van or something. Who knows? But that'll be really, really interesting. I'm really looking forward to Avengers Infinity because of just how every booster pack is going to have a 2x2 base. Looking at the other figures on the booster packs, let's just look at the booster pack in the top left corner. Looks like, first off, there's Jack of Hearts there, which is, it's been forever since he was made. So I think there's a lot of people really happy for Jack of Hearts to be made. And then we have another Thor, which is, okay, we've had a few Thors, but, it's kind of hard to have a space theme without Thor. We have a Quasar, which is interesting. I think there was a Quasar in Civil War set. I think so. This one looks interesting. Just looking from the sculpt, it looks to be probably an uncommon or a rare. At his power level, I would say probably a rare. But who knows? They may squeak him in as an uncommon that, very powerful uncommon, like that Bat God from Elseworlds, and then what looks to be a Captain America in a spacesuit throwing his shield, and that'd probably be a super rare. I think that'll probably be a super rare, maybe a rare. And then looking on the front of the booster pack, we see Thor, we see Quasar. It looks like Photon. Is that Photon? It's the flamey chick. And then also you see Moondragon in the bottom left corner. And then I actually found the image of the comic book online. And in the bottom right corner where it's actually covered over, there's also Tigra. So I think it's pretty much guaranteed Tigra is going to be in the set as well. Avengers Infinity was an older storyline. I never read it, but it's actually a storyline. The logo's straight from it. The cover is straight from it. I mean, it'll be interesting. I don't know anything about the storyline really. Let's look at the Fast Forces. So you get the Colossal Giant Girl, which is really cool. You can just tell by looking at the Fast Forces that it's bigger than the normal Fast Forces because look at the holes in the top of it. There's 3 holes. In normal Fast Forces, you can look at the Turtle Fast Forces. Well, actually, now that you look at the Turtle Fast Forces, there are 3 holes up there too. Okay, well maybe, it doesn't look as long as the Turtle Fast Forces, but it looks wider for some reason. It's interesting. Either way, we're gonna get the Colossal Giant Girl. Looks like we're getting a new Vision, a new Iron Man, a new Black Panther, a new Hawkeye, and then I'm not sure who the girl is. It look, I don't know. I don't know who that could be. Someone correct me if they know who that is. I don't know the storyline, so I don't know who's dressed up in blue. I don't think it's Black Widow. It could be somebody from S.H.I.E.L.D. I don't know. Normally they put like a bad guy in the Fast Forces, so maybe it's a bad guy of some sort. But I mean, I feel like Avengers Defenders War gave us a lot of really good versions of these characters. My favorite Black Panther is the shifting focus ones from that set. Same for the Vision. My favorite Visions are from that set, shifting focus. My favorite Iron Man is from What If, and it's the one, it's the founding member one, which can his move actions he doesn't get an action token for. Same for the Thor. Actually, I love those too. I really wish we would have got a Captain America with founding members, so we could have had all 3 of them kind of moving around and not getting action tokens. That would have been amazing. And it was even better when, we had the original Avengers team ability, and your character's move actions didn't count towards your overall actions. So like if you had multiple Thors or multiple Iron Man or whatever, or if you had 6 different Avengers, they could all move out on the same turn, even if you only had 3 actions, for the turn. Sadly, they changed that to now it's just +1 movement when you're given a move action, which is really dumb. But whatever. So we'll see, what kind of versions we get with these characters. Vision, Hawkeye, Iron Man. The Hawkeye in Avengers Defenders War was not my favorite. So, and I know the Hawkeye, the Chase Hawkeye is like ridiculous. So we'll see what kind of Hawkeye we'll get. Maybe he'll be like a better low point version. And another Iron Man. Okay, sure. And I like getting the colossal piece in it. That'll be really cool. And then let's look at the dice pack. The dice pack is really interesting. You can kind of tell, for the most part, some of the characters that are going to be in the set. Now, the dice pack is actually based off of the Infinity Watch, which I'm not sure they're actually tied into the Avengers Infinity storyline. Because it looks like two different logos. There may be another storyline called the Infinity Watch that the dice token pack is based off of. But you can see on there, there you can see Drax and Gamora from Guardians of the Galaxy. You can see Moondragon, and I think that's Pip the Troll. And then somebody in the top left, his name escapes me. I don't think that's Quasar. I think I remember him from something like the Galactic Guardian set, but I can't remember his name. And then we see in the bottom right a new Thanos, and I'm pretty sure, especially with the dice having the Infinity Gauntlet symbol on it, I'm pretty sure we're gonna get a new Thanos in this set, and hopefully, I mean, in my personal opinion, I really hope he's like 350 points and he is just insanity. I mean, because it's been a while since we had a really strong Thanos, and I'd really like to see a nice Thanos. It'd be really cool. I think that the dice and the tokens look nice, and I think people that are a fan of those characters are really gonna like them. I'm looking forward to buying some booster packs. Now the booster packs will be more expensive this time around. I think they're gonna be like $15-16 because of the included 2x2 base, which will be interesting. That means bricks and cases will cost more in general, and I wonder how players will react to that. But thankfully, that's only for that one set. So when the next set comes out, you'll be back to the $12.99 booster price. That's the MSRP. Okay, so Avengers Infinity comes out May 2018. Stores will probably already be pre-ordering it, so definitely let your local stores know how much of the set you want to get, and help them help you by knowing how much you're interested in, and so they know how much to bring in. It's always important to do that. Moving on, we're going to be talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Unplugged set. We finally got some more images of it. I think the last time I made a podcast, we just had the prototype, the prototype box for it, which you can see on there. Unplugged. The booster packs are flat. The images of the turtles, they look like pixelated 2D versions. And now we have pictures of the Fast Forces and the dice and token pack. So let's look at the Fast Forces, and I'll be perfectly honest. I'm gonna be perfectly honest because I'm not gonna hide it from anybody. I hate the look of these figures. I do. I really hate the look of these figures. I'm not saying I'm against like a video game theme set. I think that would be really interesting. WizKids has shown that they're willing to look into different properties related to what we're used to. We're getting a Batman the Animated Series set, which is really cool. So, I mean, I would be up for a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles video game set, but these sculpts aren't from any of the video games. I went back and looked at the NES, Nintendo Entertainment System game. I went back and looked at the arcade games, Turtles in Time. I went back and looked at all that kind of stuff, and none of the games match this design. The only one I could find that kind of looked like it was Turtles in Time, but it was only the poses of the characters looked like the poses here. The sculpts did not look like it. It looked like, these look like, they don't even look like Minecraft. They look like just a weird, like if someone tried to build a turtle out of using Legos. That's what they kind of look like. And like a lot of Legos, not like, one piece is a foot, like 10 pieces is a foot, They just look really, really, really weird. And I don't want to be negative or anything, but I think this is the last thing the TMNT fans wanted to see. We had 3 TMNT sets, and they kind of fleshed out a lot of different licenses. We got some figures from the original cartoon, from the original comic book, from the IDW comic book, from the newest cartoon, and a little bit in between. And we got the staples from all that. We got the Turtles, we got the Shredders, we got the Splinters, we got the April O'Neils, and we got like the standard characters from those licenses. But I think what a lot of people wanted to see with like this 4th set or a 5th set or whatever in the future, they wanted to see fleshing out of like the secondary characters. More of the secondary characters, that make up all the different various episodes. We've had enough Bebop and Rocksteadies now. Let's see some Tiger Claws. Let's see some Dog Faces. I think Dog Pound or whatever his name is from the newest cartoon. Especially the newest cartoon, the 2012 series that just recently ended, had an amazing series and had a great number of characters in it. Even when they went into space, they added in some new characters, and when they went back in time, we had that rabbit dude. I would love to see the rabbit dude, and Karai, that can transform into a snake, and more of the mutanimals, and Pigeon Pete, and Dr. Rockwell, and all these characters. I would love to see them. I don't want to just see different versions of the Turtles over and over and over again. And that's what this seems like this set's gonna be. It's gonna be, okay, well, here's the same Turtles, here's Shredder, here's Splinter, here's April O'Neil, here's Casey Jones, here's Bebop and Rocksteady, and now they're in this weird cubed form. And it's just weird. Like, I don't know. If it was a one-off, and this was just what the Fast Forces looked like, and nothing else from the set looked like it, I would be like, okay, that's one way of doing it. But it seems like, and what I worry is that more and more and more of the set's going to be like this. And for someone like me that has bought, I bought a cube of series 1, 2, and 3. I've collected them very well. I have almost all the super rares, commons, uncommons, and rares from all the Turtle sets. And I have some of the chases. And for someone like me to just be like, I don't want this, that's not a good thing, because I'm the returning customer. I'm the one that's going to continue to buy boosters until I can get the whole set. And if you're turning away me, or players like me, it's not going to bode well for Turtles as a whole. The 3rd set, I think a lot of people thought, the 3rd set was on the decline. The first set blew up. And then when people saw the black and white chases, they were like, holy crap, And then the 2nd set was okay. And the chases were kind of iffy on people. And then people were going into the 3rd set thinking, But then those Shredder chases, the Shredder chases ended up being like meta pieces. Winning rock events with them and stuff. And I think that's what really brought it out of the gutter, the chase figures in the set. And I would hate for this set to be the nail in the coffin for Turtles, because I could see it from a business standpoint where WizKids looks at it and goes, well, the sales have declined ever since the first set came out, and this 4th set sold the worst of them all, so I think it's time to just call it a day, And I would hate for that to happen, because there is so many years of great content they can tap into. But I just think this Unplugged thing is not the right way to go. If they wanted to go a video game set, okay, sure, but make them look like the video games, Make them look like the video games. Don't just come up with your own little weird design of it. And we've already seen a Rocksteady piece, and it doesn't look like anything like from a video game. It looks just like these other pieces, and that's what really scares me, because I'm looking at this thing going, I just don't know if I want to buy any of it. if it's not from the original comic book, original cartoon, the new cartoon, or the IDW comic book, maybe I could fit in like a video game series, but this is just not from any of that kind of stuff, and I don't see any inspiration coming from it. How are they going to know what characters to make other than let's just make the same old standard characters? And why am I going to want to collect them, and how am I going to display them in my display cabinet? How am I going to organize them with my other figures? Because they're not from a license of any kind. And that's what's really, really depressing. I mean, the Dyson token pack looks nice. It has pretty colors. It's not bad. It's not bad, but I just don't like the look of the figures, and I hate to say that. I really hate to say that. I'm going to move on. Because I think I've spent too much time just being negative about this set. I'm going to try to stay hopeful. Maybe not the whole set will look like this. I worry, though. I worry that stores are going to bring this in, and then, it's not going to sell at all. And then, a few months down the line, we'll see it sitting on shelves for $27 a box. Just before we move on, this turtle set we talked about in the last video was delayed. It was supposed to come out in March. Now it comes out in May. So definitely let your stores know if you're interested in it. You may be the only one. Okay, moving on. Okay, so by the time I've made this video, we've people on the internet have seen every single doll for all the figures in the X-Men Xavier school set. And so I had an interesting thing to do. It wasn't just, these are the newest ones we've seen. Now we've seen them all. So I was thinking to myself, what figures do I talk about? Because I'm still really excited about the set. I'm excited to go to pre-releases starting on the 3rd of February. I'm just excited. I'm excited about the set. And I was thinking, well, do I do my top 3 figures? And I don't know if I want to do that. There were some characters I've already talked about that may be on that list. I don't want to bring them up again. So instead, I thought about 3 really interesting figures that I'm going to be interested to play with in the future, and why I'm interested in them. So let's start with a common. His name is Cinch. He's number 11 in the set. He's a Generation X character. And I think one of the brilliant things about this set is it really filled out the Generation X team. I think there was probably still a few they didn't make, but like the majority of them were made, and I think that's awesome. I think it's awesome that it's not just the same Gambits and Bishops and Wolverines and Psylocks, that we got in Uncanny and we got in X-Force and all that kind of stuff. These are characters that have never been made before, and that really fill out the mythos of the X-Men. Like the new X-Men are also well represented in the set too, and then also students from the ACAT or the school. So his name is Cinch. He's a Generation X character. He's 45 points and he has 5 range. Looking at his doll, he has nothing but willpower, and you're like, okay, that's really weird. Okay, let's look at his traits. He has 2 traits. His first trait, all the characters that are Generation X have this same trait, and it's actually a really nice trait. Power action, move up to 5 squares, then make a close attack. So like all the Generation X characters have like a built-in charge, which is really, it's not as good as charge, because charge allows you to move half your movement and then be given a close combat action or a close action. This just says close attack, but in the case of Cinch, that his movement's only 8, he still gets to move up to 5 squares, which is better than what a charge would give him, which would be 4 movement. It's interesting. He's not going to be doing much for 2 damage, but if he needs to run out there and punch somebody, he can. Now, where his power comes in is with his other trait, Power Mimicry and Amplification. It's a free action. Choose a friendly character within range, 5 range, and choose a standard power that character can use. So that means not a special power. If it's a white box, you can't choose it. Or, well, they can use. Okay, so you couldn't choose a special power, but you could choose a standard power that the character can use because of their special power, Cinch can use that chosen power until your next turn. If the chosen character has the Generation X keyword, so like if you're playing like a Generation X theme team, Cinch can also use Perplex in addition to the chosen power. So for 45 points, if you're part of a Generation X theme team and all your other characters have the Generation X keyword, Cinch basically is a 45-point willpower Perplex piece. Now, his options come in, what powers do you choose to copy from your friendly characters? There's some really interesting options here. One thing I thought about was telekinesis. Let's say one of your dudes telekinesis out somebody that has a lot of range. The dude shoots, and then Cinch copies the telekinesis, and then TKs back the shooter. You know what I'm saying? So that's really interesting. I mean, you could copy probability control or outwit. Probably probability control. And then you would have two probability control pieces. That's really interesting. I wonder if he could choose probability control because of a theme team probability control. I wonder, because it says, a standard power that character can use. I don't know, that'd be a ruling. I mean, but still, he could choose, telekinesis. He could choose barrier. And now you go from having one barrier piece to having two barrier pieces, which is really interesting. I think he's definitely going to play more of a supportive role, but he can definitely choose. Look up at Leech. Leech has Generation X keyword. He could choose. Leech has a special power that lets him use Outwit. So Cinch could choose Outwit, and now you have two Outwit pieces. Really cool stuff. Because he can choose, every single turn. It can mean he could do something different. He could be using support. He could be, and he has willpower, so he doesn't have to worry about pushing or anything. You can move him out and then copy somebody's probability control and have like an extra probability control use piece. You can move him out and choose stealth, from someone else and sit him out there. He's really, really interesting. He's 45 points. It'll just be interesting to see what he can copy. Okay, moving on to the next piece. It's an uncommon. It's Leech. And Leech is 30 points. Has Generation X, Morlocks, Weapon X, and X Factor keywords. Has Stealth. Is his whole dial. His attack values are pretty bad. His defense values are pretty bad. But he can do 1 damage. Now he has a trait. This is what I really like about him. Whenever an opposing character would use an effect that allows it to choose standard powers to use, you may first choose the standard power. This turn, that character can't choose that standard power that you chose. What that means is he's another anti-pick-a-power piece. But we've covered Darwin in the past, where Darwin would say, okay, you pick some powers, now take one unavoidable damage, Leech works in a different way. He does not damage the character that picks a power, but he stops them from choosing a specific power. And that can, in my opinion, be almost better. Because your opponent can always choose, like, okay, I'm going to choose Hypersonic and Steel Energy. Okay, Darwin hits me for 1 damage, but then I'm going to Hypersonic out, punch somebody for 4 or 5, and he'll back 1 click. So, like, they can get around the damage. But Leech literally says, I'm going to choose a power, and you cannot choose that power. So, like, one thing that always frustrates me is it's very hard to get your hands on a pick-a-power piece. You can surround them with your team and be like, okay, what you going to do now? But then they're going to be like, okay, I'm going to pick phasing, and I'm going to phase away. Or you hit them really hard, and then go, okay, I'm going to choose regeneration and stealth, and I'm going to regen back up. But with Leech, you're like, you can hit them real hard and say, and then when they go to choose powers, go, you can't choose regeneration. and that really messes them up. I mean, they can choose Steel Energy, sure, but they're only going to heal up 1 at most, and they got to actually hit somebody, and I think even deal damage on top of that, you know? And what's so good is, again, these powers, these anti-pick power pieces do not have any line of sight or range limitations on them. So even if they're like, okay, well, whatever, I can't regen this turn, I'm gonna phase away to the corner of the map and do it next turn. No, Leech will never let you use regeneration the entire game if he chooses to, you know, and that is so good. You know, I mean, say, you know, you can't choose probability control, and that one attack of yours is gonna be the one chance you get, you know, or, you know, you can't choose phasing and run away. You can't choose regeneration and heal up. You know, you can't choose hypersonic speed and hit me and break away easier. You know, it's really, 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 really cool. And I like it a lot, actually. And then he has a special damage power. Don't get too close. He can use Outwit. Each time Leech uses it, if his target was within 4 squares, after resolutions, he can use Outwit again, target a character not already targeted by his Outwit this turn. And then it says he can keep using it as long as he has targets. So, like, that's kind of interesting. The only downside is, you know, he's really weak. So you kind of don't want to be within 4 squares of an opponent. But, like, you know, if, you know, one idea someone suggested was, if you're on an outside door map, you could maybe use Mr. Mixelplix to turn Leech giant, so he can see over all the blocking and stuff. But even then, you know, you still have to be within 4, and then they can see Leech, you know, and he only has a 16 defense. Maybe if he's in hindering terrain. Still, though, if they charge him or hypersonic him, he's just dead. He's just dead. He's not like Darwin. He doesn't have those extra stop clicks where he can, or not stop clicks, or whatever they are, where he can choose the defense power. You know, still though, 30 points, X Factor and Generation X keywords are really good. I love Leech. I love Darwin. I love Prodigy. That's another figure I haven't talked about, but they're all anti-pick power, and I absolutely love them. And then the last figure I want to talk about, and I guess this is probably going to be a shorter podcast, but it's okay. The last figure I want to talk about is a super rare. So I tried to pick like a common, uncommon, and rare, but you know, but I had to go with a super rare because I really like this piece. And the piece is Dust. And I think she's one of the new X-Men. I think so. And thankfully they did not give them a new keyword like new X-Men, like they did the all-new X-Men. Ugh, that really perturbed me when they came out with the all-new X-Men keyword. Okay, but she also has Hellions keyword too. And she has X-Men team ability, 4 range, and she's only 50 points. You know, as you can tell looking at the pieces I chose, I like low point characters that can do really cool things. Because that means you can run more characters on a team instead of just like 3 characters for 300 points, you know. So she has Sidestep, Precision Strike, a little bit of regeneration, and then she has improved movement, elevated, and hindering. So that's nice. And then she has 2 traits. She has the standard X student trait. When this character's or an adjacent friendly character's attack roll includes exactly 1/5, modify one target's defense -1. So, you know, if you roll a 6 or something and you roll a 5 and a 1, and you really need to hit that 7, then you can hit it basically. Or, you know, if you roll a 5 and a 3, you know, the way I see it, it helps out when you have to hit the harder to hit characters. You know, when you only need a 4 to hit someone, it's not going to help at all. But when you got to hit that 21, and you're like, okay, I need a 10 really badly, then you can roll a 5 and a 4 and 9 and still get the 10. So it's not bad trait. And then she has her other trait, and this is her own trait, Scouring Sands. She can use Smoke Cloud as a free action, which is always useful, but only to place 4 markers, and I think Smoke Cloud is normally 6 markers. And there's been multiple pieces in the past that can do free action smoke cloud, and they can only place like 1 marker or 2 markers or anything. Pixie from Uncanny X-Men can place 1 marker. There's a monthly prize kit. Dude, I can't think of his name. He's a Marvel Knights character that can put out like 2 or 3 tokens for free, or he can put out 9. There's a lot of cool smoke cloud stuff out there. Anyways, at the end of each opponent's turn, deal 1 damage to each opposing character occupying or adjacent to a smoke cloud marker placed by dust. So she can throw them out there, and then if they're pushed, it works really well. If they're pushed and they can't move, then they have to clear their characters, and then at the end of the turn they take 1 damage, which may or may not be good. If they have toughness and if they have any kind of damage reducer, it's not going to help. But it'd be really interesting against weaker characters. Maybe they have super senses and shape change. You can get past that with this, or they have mastermind. You can get past that with this. And then also on top of the Scouring Sands trait, she has Swirling Sands, which is a special defense power. She can use super senses, and then Dust modifies her defense +1 for each adjacent smoke cloud marker placed by her. So I think the idea is she is a tie-up piece, kinda. She's a close combat piece. She has 4 range, sure, but she wants to put the smoke cloud underneath the opponent, or at least around the opponent, and then also around herself, so that she can bump up her defense, because she can get her defense up to 20. If she is adjacent to 3 different smoke cloud markers that she's placed, and that's really interesting. A 20 defense with super senses, that's damaging characters with precision strike. Wait, hold up. Would the damage dealt from her Scouring Sands power work with her precision strike to not be reduced below 1? Because in the past, characters with poison, and then I think there was a feat that was basically the same thing as precision strike. Damage dealt from this character cannot be reduced below 1. I wonder if that would work together. If it did, basically making her 1 damage be penetrating, that would be amazing. It'd be even better than penetrating. It'd be unreducible basically, which I'm unsure how Invincible affects that nowadays. But anyways, she's 50 points, dude. I love these low point characters. There are so many low point characters. She is a super rare, and I posted her sculpt. We saw her sculpt. She has a really nice sculpt. I really want to play her with pieces like the Nightshade from Harley Quinn set. I want to play her with Rat King. I think he's from the 2nd or 3rd Turtle set that can teleport between hindering. I think it's so fun to have characters that can put out stealth really easily, like the Common Storm from Uncanny, and also have characters that can move through the stealth, teleporting for free and stuff. I think it's such a fun theme to play, and you can fit like Dust for 50 points, Storm for 50 points, Rat King for 100 points, and then Nightshade for 50 points, and that's 250 points, and you still got 50 more points for another dude, or whatever you want to do. And now you have like all this like free smoke cloud, teleporting between the things, moving characters, just fun going on. So I'm excited for X-Men Xavier school set. I pre-ordered a case through one of my local stores. I'm excited to open it up. I'm going to be making a unboxing video, probably 2 different videos, one for each brick, and I'm trying to make it look as professional as I can, because I want to make it a good video. So look out for that. I'll be getting my stuff probably February 14th That's when the set drops. As you can see at the top, release date February 14th. Pre-releases, they start February 3rd, and then they also go until February 10th. I know I'm going to one on the 3rd and one on the 10th. Just looking at the image as a whole, we got a lot of cool Heroclix stuff coming out this year. We got Avengers Infinity, which will be really, really interesting with the 2x2 bases. It'll be really, because there's a lot of them. I think there's 20 of them? Maybe more. Because there's super rare ones and rare ones and uncommon ones, I think. And it'd just be really interesting to see all the different 2x2 bases we get. And they're going to look amazing when you display them. That's one thing WizKids hits out of the ballpark, is their bigger pieces are amazing looking. So they're going to be awesome to be displayed. The turtle set, I'm crossing my fingers that I like it. I'm hoping I like it. I'm trying to stay positive. Okay. And then the X-Men set, I'm really excited for. I'm a huge X-Men fan, I think when I first heard about the set, I was like, oh, another Cyclops, another Jean Grey, another Gambit, all this kind of stuff. And it really, really surprised me. WizKids has done an amazing job with the set list for this set. Yes, it's lacking any villains. There's very, very few villains. But when you think about how well they flesh out the Generation X team, how well they flesh out the new X-Men team, how well they put in a bunch of never before made characters from the school. I love the set list. I mean, as a big X-Men fan who really, didn't really get into these storylines. I read a little bit of Generation X growing up, but new X-Men, I didn't read it all. But I love all the different mutants. You can only have so many Cyclopses and Icemans and Wolverines, before you're like, okay, I have plenty. Let's see some other mutants. And I think they've done a really good job with giving a bunch of them X-Men keyword when maybe they don't deserve it, but allows you to play them more in theme teams like Dust. They could have given them new X-Men keyword, a brand new keyword, but they chose not to. And while, a lot of the Generation X pieces don't have X-Men keyword, I think there are some that do. And, for people like me who basically just play X-Men keyworded pieces, I probably will dabble with the other groups, but there still will be a lot of new X-Men keyword pieces to choose from. And I'm excited about that. I think my biggest gripe is just there's no Apocalypse. And we're due for a new Apocalypse. It's been many years since the last Apocalypse, and we've had back-to-back Age of Apocalypse chase sets with no Apocalypse. So I think that is, such a letdown overall. There's no Apocalypse. Other than that, though, I love the set. I think it's going to be a really fun set to play in sealed, and definitely, contact your local stores and tell them, hey, are you going to be doing a pre-release? Are you going to be doing a release day event? Sign me up for some of that stuff. I want to buy some of those boosters. Make sure overall, stay in good communication with your local stores so they know what you're interested in, know what you want to buy, so they know what to bring in, because you don't want the stores to lose any money, and then, end up not wanting to support the game anymore. So try to stay in communication with them, and maybe they'll stay in communication with you back. But I just want to thank everybody for tuning in for this third episode of ClixRule. It run a little bit shorter this time, but I think I still had a lot of fun recording this. And I look forward to making the next episode. I don't know what's coming out on the horizon. I've been making a new episode every 2 weeks. And somehow there's been so much Heroclix information coming out. There's been new stuff to talk about every 2 weeks. But I kind of base it on every 2 weeks I go, is there enough to talk about? And that's really going to be interesting to see. The Avengers Infinity set's going to be coming out in May. So we may start seeing some spoilers for it, and so I may have that to talk about, but maybe some turtle spoilers coming out. But, and then also the new monthly organized play prize kit. I think that one's the Mojo World one coming out this month. So there may be some stuff to talk about in 2 weeks. But just thank you everybody who's tuned in. I think I think we've got a good viewership just in just 2 episodes. So thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoy some of this Heroclix stuff coming out this year. I think it's going to be a fun Heroclix year. And I hope you have fun playing Heroclix in your local scene. And I hope you have a great weekend. Or whenever I post this and get this up, have a good day. And just have fun playing Heroclix. Bye-bye.